All right. Well, we are 2 minutes past the hour. Welcome, welcome, everyone. I want to respect and honor your time for being here with us tonight on this education session. My name is Eva Medilek, and on behalf of the Education Committee, I'd like to welcome all BNSA members and guests. And if this is your first time joining us, we do hope that you will consider becoming a part of BNSA family and visit our website. Teresa will drop the information in the chat. And also follow us on social media platforms so you can stay updated on our all of our happenings here in BNSA. So we are excited about tonight. Not only are we partying old school tonight, but we have an action-packed Wednesday format for you that's designed to bring even more value and impact to your speaking business. And just a reminder, after this session, we're going to take these insights and go into a deep dive session so we can further discuss. And just to give you a little background about what we'll be talking about today, our speaker is Dr. Shirley Davis, and her topic is You Killed the Keynote, but is your speaking business dying? So I'm excited to hear that. I'll do a formal introduction of Dr. Davis in a minute, but I just want to acknowledge that our president, Lethea Owens, is here and give her the opportunity to welcome you all as well and share a few words with us. Welcome, Lethea.
Hi, Eva. Thank you so much for just being one of our fearless leaders and someone we can always count on to step up to the plate to lead us well. And you do such an amazing job. I want to just encourage each and every one of you as you think about, the gifts and talents that you've been given. It's interesting how when we think about our talents and the gifts that we have, if you think about a gift, it has not been given to you for you to keep to yourself. It has been given to you to use to help others. And I'm so excited that I am a part of a community that is a giving community, that is a generous community. We say that our mantra here is that we are speakers by profession, but we are family by choice. And when you're a part of Black NSA, you feel the family in the word family, like you feel family. And I want to just encourage you. We have a campaign going on right now called Each One Give One. And I've cast the vision for you that if each of our members gave just 1 hour a month, imagine the kind of organization we could be. We have people who are leading our virtual global speakers summit. We have people who are leading our virtual speakers academy, our $1 million mastermind, our monthly writers workshop, our EDU session. I mean, people are stepping up and leading in a myriad of ways. And we have space for you to lead, okay, for you also. I just want to take a moment and I want to highlight some of our they're special to me because I've been anticipating and waiting for them to join us all month. And one of the things that we are doing is we're this month recognizing some really amazing young professional speakers who in their communities and in their colleges and post college and in their schools, they are killing the game. And so we have a couple of people that, and Teresa, I'm going to ask you to please spotlight. And I think I can do it actually. But we have first up, I would like for everyone to give a family warm welcome to one of our young professional speakers, Tristan Rampersad, who happens to be my godson, everyone, just so you know. But Tristan, would you say hi to everyone? Tristan, I'm going to spotlight you so everyone can see you. Wonderful. Tristan is has graduated college already, early, I think 2 years early, and is preparing for law school. So he'll be attending law school soon, and I am so very proud of him. But coaches. He coaches groups and organizations that are related to debate. So he is a highly sought after debate coach at his very young age. So just really excited for Tristan. His mom is Christina Rampersad, y'all, too. I know she's in the background waving and shouting about her baby. But thanks for joining us tonight, Tristan. Also, I would like to acknowledge Nathaniel Ocean. So if we could see Nathaniel, yeah, Nathaniel is a 17-year-old TEDx speaker. Come on, Nathaniel. Shirley,
Hi.
we are so excited to have you tonight. You are paving the way for future young people, and we're just so excited to be a part of now your extended family. So you got a whole bunch of uncles and aunties right here who are willing to support you and help you on your journey. Dr. Anthony Richies, one of our board members, is coaching Nathaniel for his TEDx talk. Okay. And we have, I think, I don't see her in the chat. And so if you're here, I know that Jakara's daughter was supposed to be here tonight, but she's not here tonight. But she just won the Farmer Bureau speech contest. And she is also another young professional speaker who is killing the game. So I just wanted to acknowledge those young professionals. And so when you see them as they join our meetings, where the board is actually talking through what we can do and creating a special program with special pricing and or scholarships for young professional speakers. So we hope to have that finalized by the end of the year. And it's because of these young professionals, they've inspired us to take the charge and to actually focus on how do we support them even further. Okay. So other than that, I just want to say to Mr. Kenson, who is killing the game always and making sure that we have amazing speakers, and my sister, my super fabulous girlfriend, Dr. Shirley Davis, I told everybody, I know that's not a real word. I know I'm from St. Louis, but that's what they say in St. Louis. I told everyone I know that they need to be here tonight because Dr. Shirley is here. And I have one other special friend who I think is on the line. Dr. Amarita is here tonight as well. So share some love with her. If you're new and I don't know you, please drop a message in the chat so I can greet you and everyone else can love on you because that's what we do. We are speakers by profession, but we are family by choice. Welcome to all of my other family members who are here every month. It's so good to see you, and I am ready for a rocking session. Back over to you, Eva.
Thanks, Lethea. Oh, you make me want to be young again so I can be a young professional and part of this. I mean, what's the age limit on that? I probably could be that grandma at this point. But anyway, I am so excited for our speaker this evening. Oh my gosh. Dr. Shirley Davis is an accomplished corporate executive, global workforce effort, a certified leadership coach, and a master of reinvention. She brings high energy and high value and a high value message to audiences all around the world. That was a nice background. She has over 30 years of business experience in a variety of senior and executive leadership roles with Fortune 50 companies. She is the president of SDS Global Enterprises, which is a full service consulting firm that specializes in providing solutions and strategies for achieving leadership excellence and in building high performing and inclusive workplace cultures where all talent can thrive. Woman after my own heart. Dr. Davis has also been a featured expert in Fortune magazine, Forbes HR magazine, and Oprah Daily. She is also a popular author of 8 LinkedIn learning leadership courses and several best-selling books. Reinvent Yourself, Strategies for Achieving Success in Every Area of Your Life, Living Beyond What If, and Inclusive Leadership for Dummies. I can think of a few dummies who need that. So, with that being said, Dr. Shirley Davis, we are so honored that you're blessing us with your presence today. Please welcome Dr. Shirley Davis.
Thanks, Eva. And it is such a blessing to be with all of you. Look, I've been with Black NSA for over 10 years, but I'm seeing some amazing new faces, new talent, and that is exciting. And I got to give props to my sister, my beloved partner in all of this great work that we're doing. And certainly we've worked together for a number of years as well, and that's Lethea Owens. I have such a high admiration and respect for her. So thank you for all that you're doing and how you're showing up in the world, how you're making impact, and how you're growing this constituent of our next generation of leaders and speakers. Look, I'm thrilled to talk to you because I'm an OG, right? So some of y'all young people might not know what that means, right? but I'm the original girl that came out there in corporate America, and I was speaking there, but also transitioned into an entrepreneur, business mogul, global workforce expert, and thought leader, and a popular author, both on LinkedIn as well as some of my books. So I'm going to share with you some of my stories, strategies, tips, tools, lessons learned, setbacks, failures, and what are some of the things that I think is relevant for you now as you continue to build your business, build your speaking acumen, and certainly how do you continue to show up every day in the world, because I believe that we don't just show up as speakers, you first show up as your most authentic self, and that's so important. So thank you all for having me. I'm back by popular demand, I imagine, because a couple of years back, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to do a session for you, and I talked a bit about some of these things as well. But it's great to be back because so many of you I did not see. So let's get started because I've got a lot that I want to cover. And look, here is your responsibility tonight to not just listen in, take notes, but I want you to engage in the chat. Right, it's available for you as well. I want to make this interactive. I want to hear from you as well, and then questions throughout. If you have some questions, I would absolutely love for you to ask them as I go. Now, sometimes I do tend to talk fast, but I talk clearly. But even though I talk fast, I'm gonna ask you to listen fast. And look, the good news is this is being recorded, and so you'll get a chance to go back and hear a lot more as well. So let's get started. We're gonna talk about, the fact that many of us are mostly keynoters, and some of us are trainers, consultants. Some of you may be coaches. I heard some of that, and some of you may just be getting started and trying to figure it all out. I'm really going to share with you my journey because I actually started out doing training and development workshops and seminars, and certainly parlayed into the keynote and then ultimately into multiple revenue streams. And that's what I want to talk about too, because a lot of times we can get up and we can kill the keynote and do a great job and still not have the revenue that we can get. Too many of us are leaving opportunities on the table and may not be thinking about the next, right? How do you strategically plan for the future so that you can have this business live on even in perpetuity, right? Live on even beyond you, because it's about impact. So I want to ask you, because I've got a couple of these, is what are some things that you do to kill the keynote? How you know you killed it? Right? So either you can come on real quickly and unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat. How do you know? Well, for me, and I want you to put it in the chat, I'll just start out with a few of these. For me, it is making sure that when the client tells you there's a certain time that they want you to be there, whether it's for tech check or whatever, that you are there to meet with the client and making sure that you are interacting with them and even with the attendees so that you can get as much intelligence, information and knowledge, and even stories and testimonials. I have found that to be really helpful. So I'm not one of those speakers that blows in, blows up, and blows back out. I like to get there. I want to hear some of the previous speakers that's coming before me. I always ask them who's coming after me. If I'm not able to stay the entire time, I'm still looking up to see what are some of the other speakers talking about, at least their titles, and I will immediately on the spot integrate some of that into my talk. So I think that's important for us to remain relevant. I'm looking in the chat too, and some of you are including some of the things that you do to know that you have killed it, right? And some I'm seeing in here too, right? Part of this is definitely getting a standing ovation. That's nice. But let me tell you something too. Here in at NSA, we give everybody a standing ovation. So that can work well. It can encourage you, but let's also recognize sometimes it's just a practice and a ritual to just be encouraging and supportive. But I've stood up sometimes and gave people a standing ovation, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to hear them anymore. I'm good. So good. Standing ovation is a good sign, though, hopefully. And then someone else asked to come back and speak again. That's really good, right? The feedback and evaluations say that, right? So not a lot of you use Talkadot. I know that's important. Sometimes too, when you get referrals at the event, right? I have been in situations where people have said, "Oh my God, I need to have you at my organization." 90 to 95% of my business anyway is on referrals and also live events. So get there, knock it out of the park, do a great job, impress the people that you need to. Hopefully, the decision makers are in there as well. But that's really, really been a driving force of some of my revenue and repeat business. So that's a good one. And then also, someone says too, loud applause, attendees gathering around you afterwards. Look, and it's great. They come showing up at your table. They want to take pictures. They want to take selfies. They want to buy your product. That's a good sign as well. Even when maybe you're out of time and people are like, oh my God, that went through so fast. And they may just want to have an extended Q&A session. Someone said that your followers, they connect with you and they request, again, more information. They request to speak with you. They request for you to speak. So all of these things are really, really good for helping us to understand that we are killing the keynote. So you've hit on a number of the ones that I've also included in here as well. But that's good. It means that you're doing something right. My friend Ross, right? He's a Hall of Famer as well as a CSP, but he's $1 million speaker as well. And he and I serve in that capacity together. But again, he does a lot, and I love this. We got to conduct due diligence on our clients to make sure that we all understand what the client needs, what the audience needs, and customize your presentation and so that they can feel like you did some homework and understand the business, right? And understand their industry, understand their the sector that they're in, and be able to speak to that. So that's important. All right, good ones. Other ones too is that you opened up with a powerful quote. We always teach this as well. Open up with a powerful quote or a question or a story. You want to get people's attention immediately, right? You want to grab them and you want to make them feel engaged. So share something that's relevant, something like these, a statistic, a joke, some data that's important to them, even a workplace scenario. So these are some examples. Also, too, making sure that you have no issues with sound, with lighting, with clickers or videos. You know, it was interesting. I was at an event this summer and it was one of the top speakers. Got there late. And I would say a diva speaker, not necessarily an NSA speaker, but one of those kind of speakers where a lot of people are spending a whole lot of money, you know, and going to these events with him. So he showed up late. He came with a video for them to play. That didn't work. And then he wouldn't start speaking until they got the video teed up, got the video working. That took another 10 minutes, y'all. So he's up on stage just kind of trying to ad lib. And that I was like, just go on, move on, right? And it was just disruptive, and it made this person look like a diva. So let's be clear about making sure that we have did all of our sound checks and everything is working well, and not do it at the expense of the attendees that are there. I was looking at some of the other chaps, some of the other here. So I'm in the chat box again. We always make sure the speaker knows who else is on the roster so that the messages flow together. That's so important. And I asked that. I asked who is going to be speaking before me. I asked who's going to be speaking after me for that very reason. I want to know, obviously, you want the theme of what's going on, but I want to hear all of the different topics that are going to be covered as well. And a lot of times I'll go look up those speakers and look up some of the speeches that they've done so I can get an understanding as to what are some of the key areas that they'll be focusing on. And then I always like to just include those in there as well. So that's another one here, is that no issues there. And then too, it's important, if you want to kill the keynote, you got to keep their attention throughout, not just grab it in the front, but you have to keep their attention throughout and make sure that we continue to engage them, whether it is what I'm doing now, asking you questions. It might be polls, it might be group discussions, it might be talk to your neighbor, it might be self-reflection, but it's important for us to continue to keep their attention. And then obviously providing them some relevant tools and resources that they can use. Look, this is my bestie right here, that you are high energy, you are engaging, you're interactive. All of those are key and important. I love it when my client says to me, this is a great compliment, is that when I'm doing certain leadership training, they're like, you know what, we were dreading coming, and you know, we know the topic's important, but we were just, it's so much on our plate and we really didn't want to be here. But gosh, we're glad we came because you kept our attention. It really was much better than I thought it would be, because we've had some other boring speakers. I love that. That's a great compliment, is that people felt your energy. They felt like you were dynamic. They were captivated. I love it when they say we're just on the edge of our seats and we couldn't wait to hear the next thing. And that's always wonderful. It's my girl right here. Yes, your presentation is inclusive, is relevant, it's relatable. And I love it too, because one of the things with Lethea is she tells great stories. She draws you in. She always is smiling. I love that. And I love that she is so transparent and authentic. Lethea, I was on the 100 Black Women Summit, and I just heard you telling your story, your personal story about way back when you know, very young, and the things you started to learn and getting married and all of those things. It was just, it drew me in because it was something we could all relate to. So be relatable, be relevant, be inclusive, be dynamic. And I love it too, is that you end on time. If people tell you you have 45 minutes, that part, right? We don't have, it's not CP time. I'm talking to my people. We're not talking about CP time, but we're talking about ending on time as a professional. That's really important. And yes, it is nice when you get a standing ovation and you get the applause. And so, but we want to make sure at the end of the day that the client is satisfied. Yeah, people might give you applause out of a routine and ritual kind of thing to support you, but the client, and if it, even if it's the meeting planner, they are your clients as well. They need to be satisfied at the end of the day. So great, great, great. You killed the keynote. We're excited. And you did that thing and you got paid. But the question is, did you go back home, go back to your offices, or go back to work in your speaking business and be experiencing this going out of business? Because you do a great job there, but are you learning how to stay relevant? Are you upskilling and reskilling? Are you understanding the signs of the times and what's happening? Because I found too, a lot of my colleagues and friends, when the pandemic happened, many of them lost a lot of business because they were only doing one thing and doing it well. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm big on take that one thing and think about it like a tree. And I'll show you this a little bit later, and start to have branches off of that tree so that you have multiple streams. I am in the midst of right now. So many of you may know me. I'm a 30-year HR professional. I've worked in every area of HR. Our company, my firm, does organizational assessments and audits. We consult with leaders on their strategies to help them transform their cultures. We talk to leaders and do a lot of coaching with leaders, because that's one of the biggest reasons people leave, or the reasons that people even become disengaged or just not bring their best and best ideas to work every day. But here we are right now too. One of the other areas that we've done a lot of work in is DEI. Look what's happening. It has absolutely been under fire, under attack. It's been dismantled. It's been dissed with all this disinformation. So if that's all you had, that has an impact to your business being successful and sustainable. But I can tell you, too many of my colleagues have absolutely went out of business and had to go and find another full-time or part-time job. Can I tell you something really that was sad? One of them told me not too long ago, they said, I literally went and got a job working at Publix in the bakery, because baking is something else that they do, but that is a far cry away from what we're used to doing every day and being out in front of people and speaking and being booked, right? And a lot of them have gone out of business and are having to find jobs. Now, think about what that looks like in this current climate, where you're in the middle of a government shutdown, in the middle of all of this disruption, in the middle of a polarized political environment, in the middle of an economic pending recession, in the middle of tariffs, in the middle of, you know, the healthcare for millions being taken away. And I mean, I can go on and on and on. So we have to continuously reinvent ourselves. We have to continuously think about ways that we can use our gifts and our talents. And I don't believe we have just one. I believe that there are multiple gifts and talents that are on the inside of us, and we can use those. So I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I've had to go through in my life. And then ultimately, when I got the victory, when I came through those things, then I wrote about them, because I believe that we don't go through anything in our lives by ourselves for ourselves. We go through things in life to help us become stronger, better, wiser, to grow, to become, you know, a better version of ourselves. But it is always about giving back and telling your story and helping others. So I can't, you know, I can't tell you the number of challenges and life's tests that I've been through where I've had to reinvent myself. I've had to learn how to get a seat at the table when I was overperforming and undervalued. I've had to learn how to get beyond my own what ifs, because the thing that can keep us stuck, right? We can kill the keynote, but one of the things I want you to think about is not to be that person that goes out and talks a bunch of concepts and theories and ideologies and philosophies and not living any of it, right? Don't be that person. I want us to get to a place where we can tell our stories, we can share some of our successes and our setbacks, and we can walk them through the journey. And that's what I've learned how to do. So I'm going to share with you and integrate some of those lessons today. But I just want you to know, and as Eva was reading some of my bio, I want you to know that these books came out of pain, and ultimately, now I'm in that season where I've moved past the pain and now I'm living in my future, my destiny. That way back in the day, it was like, man, one of these days when I get past this, when I get over this, and here's the thing, I've learned how to reinvent myself more than once. I'm in the middle right now reinventing myself, reinventing my business because of the environment that we're in. And so it's not that we don't have it, it is that we've got to tap into some other areas that have been on layaway, and I say pull it off a layaway and start making some things happen. So that's what I want to cover today. Now that we've hit on some of the things that keep us killing the keynote, I want to hit on some things that will keep us building a sustainable, successful business. And so I'll share with you some ways to monetize your business to the point where you can build it into a 6 and 7 figure business like I have. I am a member of the Million Dollar Speakers Group and have been now for 4 years. And I'm continuing to grow and build my business even in the midst of a recession, right? And then I'm going to share with you some tools on how you can continue to ramp up your business and some resources that will help you streamline your back office operations as well as optimize your time and your money and certainly increase profitability. Y'all ready for it? So if you have questions, I certainly want you to put some questions in the chat as well, and I'll continue to check on some of those. All right, so let's talk then real quickly about the call. So you get the call from, let's say now I've done my work and people have been really excited about the keynote that I did. And so now they're calling and you followed up. And so here is your intake pitch, right? So here's some things for me. I never ever take the client just at face value. What do I mean by that? I don't just listen to what the client says they need in my keynote or that they need in this particular service. I'm asking them questions because I'm going to upsell, right? I'm not just going to do just the keynote. I'm going to share with them all of the other offerings, all the services and things that we have. So I want you to think about it from that perspective. So we look at the intake call. Here's some tricks and tips that I incorporate into my calls with my clients. So I'm always going to offer full fee, right? And for full fee, what I offer and request of them, I say, I am going to deliver an amazing keynote or an amazing training session or an amazing presentation session for you. I am going to, even with that, because here's what I do. I charge a day rate. I don't charge by the hour. And the reason for that for me is that I live in Tampa Bay, but if you want me to come to California, I can't be in California and then be in Washington, D.C., and then be in Florida all in the same day. So you get me for the full day. And that's how I actually sell my services is I let them know you got me for the full day. I'm happy to not only provide for you for that day, so you can maximize your money, but I say to them, other clients who have booked me to do the keynote, but they've also incorporated a VIP session. So if it's at a conference, I'll spend time with the sponsors or with some of their executive teams or with some of their volunteers, whoever their VIPs are. I provide for them a 1-minute promo video specifically to help them market the conference. So I'll say something like, hello, it's Dr. Shirley Davis, and I am so excited that on November the 12th, I'm going to be coming to you, talking to you about killing the keynote, and not only killing that, but making sure your business doesn't die. So I will put that out and say, if you haven't registered yet, please register and give them a link to where they can go to, put it out on all my social media, and they love that the speaker is going to help them promote it. So that's really helpful for them. And I send it to them and they send it out in their email marketing and all of that. But I also put it on all of my social media platforms. And I even do, sometimes I'll offer to do podcasts if they have one. And I'll offer to do an article if they have one as well. And then I'll offer to put something like a blog or something on their website. So we're getting people excited and interested in coming. Even sometimes I've asked them to send me questions from the participants or the attendees before they get there and say, what questions do people have, so I can make sure I can incorporate that even in my speech. And what I ask of them is I ask them for a referral to their procurement offices, or even to their if I can find it, whoever's managing their suppliers and vendors. I ask them for a referral so that I can then become an approved provider. And there is a process for that. A lot of times they have what they call a MSA, a master service agreement. And if that is signed, then that'll go into procurement. It goes into their system that's online, that's available to everybody around the whole company. So if anybody ever needs a speaker on these topics with this expertise, I'm your woman, right? Because I've gotten a master service agreement. So those are some of the things that I also do. Oh, in addition to that, I also offer a 1 hour follow-up webinar, because if they only need me for 30 minutes or need me for 45 minutes, they've only gotten just a very small version of me. I want to be able to follow up. Why do you think that a follow-up webinar would be a very good offering for them? And I don't charge them for it. I just offer it as a free webinar. Why do you think that might be helpful? Yep, I'm mute.
Well, they can ask questions and go deeper.
Yeah. Ask questions and go deeper. And I heard someone else.
More engagement and even customizing other opportunities.
Yeah, more engagement. Absolutely. Who else?
It puts you in position for more potential clients, right? If
Yes.
they can hear from you, it allows opportunity as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It gives me more time with them. It gives me an opportunity to influence more, to impact more. And I'm always going to be seeding, right? How many of y'all be seeding when you be speaking, right? You have to seed. Seed means just dropping seeds around some of the other offerings that you have. So if I'm in the middle of a keynote, I am going to share with them an example of how we did an organizational assessment with a client that produced these results. And we've been seeing this impact and how happy and satisfied the client was. Giving them example that I don't just keynote, but we also do organizational assessments. And I'll tell them a story. I was working with an executive in a coaching program that we offer, and the executive was really struggling with how to have certain difficult conversations with a hybrid workforce, right? And so sharing with them, if you're hearing some of that, I'm dropping seeds to help them to know I'm more than just a one topic or one title presenter. I also ask them for an Ask the Speaker session following my keynote. If I'm going to be there all day, there is no reason why I can't, again, maximize my time. Yes, I'll have people in the room hearing me in the general session, but I don't have a problem doing like an Ask the Speaker. So they one or the other, right? So it can be like a concurrent session, or it may not be one that's titled a session, but it will be an Ask the Expert, meaning it's not a necessarily topic, but it is, hey, the speaker is going to do a follow-up session immediately after this with all the other concurrents going. If you want to go and have more deeper conversations with her and ask more questions, then you can do that. So I'll do those. Takeaway resources, I always make sure that I provide for them a handout, a takeaway, or send them to my website to download something. I even ask them if I can put something in their swag bags, right? Whether that is a brochure or whether it is a one sheet, or even if it's sometimes I've given out like a USB drive with my information on it, or a pen that has my website on it as well. So those are some things. Sometimes I even just do like a brochure that has like up and coming new book or a new LinkedIn learning course. Client testimonials, I ask them for that. So if I'm going to be speaking there, they've got great feedback from me, I ask them if they would do that. A lot of times when I'm there, I like to record it, or either I'll ask them to send that to me right after the event, because you don't want to wait too much time because they forget. And then the same thing, are there other clients, other partners that you work with that could benefit from the knowledge and the expertise that I share? and then even an email list of attendees. Not everybody's going to give you that. And I get that because I hate getting spam too after I've gone to a conference and everybody wants to scan your badge and then you get over saturated with a bunch of spam. But I think, again, it's important, it's worth asking. And I've had several clients give it to me, or I'll say, I'd love to reach out to you. And what I say to them, I'll reach out to you no more than 2 times after this session is over, because people don't want to be spam. So that's really important. All right, let me make sure I don't have any questions. Someone asked, are you simply delivering talks or are you building your business? That's good. Absolutely. That's exactly what we want you to think about, is don't just get a great keynote and then, you don't have the business to support it. So what if your keynote is off the chain and then you get someone who wants to bring you in and do a long-term like training program on your system? Do you have the back office support to help you to be able to do that, right? Get it done, get it done. Again, if anybody else has questions, someone says, what do you deliver in the VIP sessions? I love that. So some of the things what I'll do with them is I ask them to tell me what are some of the key challenges, business issues that they're dealing with. And I'll come with, I love this. So I'll have like a one slider that says, okay, in your industry, here are the top 10 things that I'm continuing to hear that you're dealing with. And then I'll provide for them some best practices and some tips. What I find is that a lot of times they're working in a bubble, they're working in a silo. They're, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So I bring that outside objective thought leadership, latest, greatest, recent data and studies, and share with them. So I love to share with them 10 things that are keeping CEOs up at night, or 10 strategies that other companies in your industry are implementing. Or, I'll share with them, here are some things that I've seen work with other clients in the area of engagement or in the area of leading a remote and hybrid workforce. They like to hear those things. But I also come and say, bring your questions, whatever you have in this particular area of expertise, bring your questions and let's just have a conversation. And they love that, being able to have a captive audience with an expert, and they ask me questions that they wouldn't feel comfortable asking in public or asking in a town hall or staff meeting. Good question there. All right. So those are some of the things. So let's say they don't have the full fee, right? That happens too, right? They can't afford you. And so what are some of the things that you can do? Well, I don't always say no, right? I realize that there's some other opportunities, but let's say they can't afford my full fee. So there are some things that I do for less than the full fee. So I still offer an amazing keynote. But I say to them, what about then? Because I know this from having led conferences and working at the Society for Human Resource Management, and I managed a large conference. So I'll say to them, then if you can't afford my full fee, what about then allowing me to do a full page ad in your publication or in your conference magazine if they're doing that? It can even be online or it can be in person. That's one. But what about placement of some of my works on your website? So I've got a leadership academy. I have an e-learning program. How about I put that on your website? Those are things that they don't mind doing. Also, I ask about an exchange of company products and services. So this one was amazing. I was doing some work with a large hotel chain and they could not afford my full fee. So I asked them if they would then be willing to offset the fee, the difference, with some night stays at their resort. It was a resort hotel. And they gave me 10 nights and I was able to use them. They gave it for me for up to a year that I could use them. I used every one of them. So those are some real boss moves that I used to almost say gangster moves, but there's some boss moves that you can make if they can't necessarily afford the full fee. There's some additional value that you can get. If it's Disney, can I have a couple of Disney passes to get in Magic Kingdom and ... right? So they may not be able to afford the full fee, but what's of value to you? If I am speaking for an airline, then obviously I'm gonna ask for some mileage there, add my mileage on, or give me a couple of credits for airfare. So those are some of the things that you can think about: company products and services or even credits. Email list again of attendees. I even asked them to offset the cost. How about purchasing this number of books from me as well, right? And I know that purchasing books is a different budget line than it is for a speaker. See, having some of these insider information, this helped me when I was working at companies where I was managing their conferences, and I knew that there were 2 or 3 different buckets that you were using for conference. It was the speaker budget, and then they had the travel and expense budget, and then they had the educational budget. So those were the books. I was like, okay, that's it. And a lot of them hadn't even thought about it. They were like, oh wow, yeah, we can do that. So, buy 100 books or buy 500 books to offset the cost. And then if that still doesn't work, I ask them for a donation to my foundation, which again, that will come from their philanthropic arm. Many of them have foundations themselves and they can donate to them. So multiple ways of, getting still a bit. Now, if they don't offer none of that, then I'll just let them know that I'm probably not the right speaker for them. And I can refer them to another speaker that doesn't, have the fee that I have. But I've been in this business for 30 years. My evaluations, my expertise demands that I, get top dollar. The other reason too, and this is important for you, know what the range is as much as you can. So when I ask them who have been their previous speakers in the past, I can go and look those speakers up, whether you look on eSpeakers, because they put their ranges out there, y'all, right? We don't talk about tomatoes, they're talking about dollar signs, right? And so you can go and look up some of those speakers and kind of get a range of what they're charging. I also go to speaker bureaus and look them up as well and try and get a sense. And sometimes if I know them, I will call them and say, would you mind giving me a range or give me some counsel on what would be the best fee? Here's my fee. Is that reasonable for them, for their budget? And other times I'll just ask them. All right, questions there. Let me make sure I'm looking on here to see if there's any other questions. I'm going to go through a question. What are the top 1 to 2 things that have made the difference in your climb of building a multi-million-dollar speaking business? Good question. It's a couple of things, but I would say for me, it has been having the right team that has allowed me to not have to get caught up in the minutia and all the administrative stuff. I started my business out the first 2 years doing everything. I was the accountant. I was doing all of the invoicing. I was doing the sales, the marketing, the branding, the delivering, the trying to close the sales, the webmaster, everything, y'all. And it was just not my area of expertise. And it was draining my energy and my passion. So it is so important for you to get some help, even if it's just part-time. I started out with just a virtual assistant for 10 hours a week. But I got to the place where I learned that I've got to ask for help. I got to learn how to delegate and make sure you get the right team of people who can do some of the things that's really not what is going to help you drive business development. So my 3 things now that I want to focus on in my business as the CEO to build a multi-million-dollar business is it's got to be closing deals. It's got to be creating new content, upgrading that content, and it definitely has to be delivering exceptional value when you do, right? That and everything else, I delegate it out to my team and allow them to do that. So that allows me to stay strategic, but it also keeps me future focused, and it allows me to continue to develop and grow. That's a great question. Other things too that I think are important in building, and not only building, but sustaining a multi-million-dollar business is, like I said, not just getting caught up on just doing one thing. There are multiple things that you can do. And when you got a great team, they can also help you deliver on those. Let me tell you something else that's been really helpful, and that is a strategic alignment and partnerships. So I literally went out and found other people who were in consulting businesses, but they didn't offer my area of expertise. They didn't have my credentials or my certification. So let's say, for example, it was a training consulting firm. They didn't have anyone that on their team or in their business. They were not doing organizational assessments. So that's something that we partner on, and we do a revenue share. So that's another example. I've got a couple of my speaker friends who have said, look, I'm getting ready to retire. This is not work I want to do anymore. And guess what I said? Hey, here's what I'd like to offer you. If and they know I'm a great speaker. I'm not going to disappoint them. I ain't going to shame the family name. But I say to them, if you would send me the business, I would then send you a check every time we get a check from them. And that tends to be their pajama money, right? Or sometimes they've said, hey, well, make the donation to this foundation or to NSA's foundation. So that is, so there's opportunities where you can continue to just build and build and build. And I'll share with you that some more. Another question in the chat is, how do you position yourself as a paid speaker after years of free speaking? Well, don't tell your clients that you've been speaking for free. That's one. But I think the other part of it is do your due diligence. Even if you're not charging the highest amount, charge something and start out with what's your budget, right? Not everybody has to know you're free. And if you are talking about getting the ones who have paid you, the ones you have done this for free, now trying to get them to pay you, that's going to be a little bit more of a strategic sell. But it can be, hey, I have been able to deliver for the last year or two these free speeches, and now we've been seeing the value, we've been seeing the results. Always talk about your results, always talk about the impact, and talk about what the other speakers in your industry or other speakers at your level, that this is what they're getting paid to do. So come with data, being able to state your value, and never start out putting yourself on the clearance rack, because you can't go up from there, right? You think about going in a department store. If you go down to the bargain basement, you can't come back up to the retail shop. So I think it's important for you to at least get to a place where you are comfortable with where your fee is, and it's something that you can sustain for a while until you continue to build up and build up and build up. There's nothing wrong with telling people that with the expertise that you have, the impact that you've seen, the results that have been realized, that you're now going to increase your fee, right? From free to at least this. And sometimes it's just asking, what is your budget for this? And I have done that. Someone else has said, what encouragement would you share for speakers who are experiencing slow growth while companies are putting projects on pause and being cautious? Welcome to my world, because that's exactly what has been happening. I had a lot of clients that were government. A lot of them were nonprofits. And now that everything is being cut, it's really been hard, even on our business. And so we actually have now, I have 10 people on my team. 7 of them were consultant 1099s, the others are full-time. And we've had to cut back a little bit. So what we've been having to do now is some of the things that we had put on the shelf, and we said one day we're going to get to those because we're so busy right now. We started pulling some of those things off the shelf. We continuously look at what are the trends, what are the workforce issues, needs, problems that we have solutions to. So always upskilling, always updating, always staying abreast of what are some of the issues and the pains that people are dealing with. And we do that. And then I think, again, the other part of that is just partnerships and recognizing that, you can always go, because that's what we're doing now. So many people are really struggling in this time frame. So we started partnering with them and making our business bigger because we learn how to work with others as well. That's really important. The other part of it too is during the slow time, that's when you can be as creative as possible, right? So when we've been slow, this summer was probably one of our slowest times, is I started writing another book. I wrote another LinkedIn learning course. Now I think Eva, when she introduced me, she said that I have 8 courses. Well, now I've got 10 courses that are out on LinkedIn. And then I started reaching back. Your slow times is a good time for you to reach back out to clients and check on them and see what they're struggling with, what needs they have, what opportunities are there, how you can serve them. Like during the pandemic, that was an amazing time for us to check on people, see how they were doing, but also to say, how can I serve you? What are some of the needs that you have? And that really helps as well. So utilize that slow time to develop, to create, to reach out, to connect, and to build strategic alliances and partnerships. Good question. All right. I see one more. Let me see. Someone says Talkadot is another or newer resource for speaker ranges as well. Good. Someone else says love everything about everything else, delegate piece. And you have to do that because you cannot do it all and you'll start dropping balls and you won't be that professional, consummate professional that you need to be. And you won't be you won't even have time to build and develop yourself. And you got to continuously do that. Someone asked the question, what's your point of view on offering speaking topics? One main customizable keynote to rule them all. I have an overarching. So my overarching work is all about building high performance, welcoming, winning, world-class workplaces. There's so much that can come under that. You don't want to limit yourself, but I do believe in having a keynote that's your signature speech, that you can customize that. But I also would say don't limit yourself, because from that keynote speech, that one signature speech, there are some branches off of that, right? So in my building, welcoming, winning, world-class workplaces, I've got everything in there from leadership 2030 to how to future-proof your workplace culture, to building the skills and competencies for the next generation, to moving from risk averse to a risk ready leader. All that stuff is in there. So you can still have a signature speech, but there's nothing wrong with having some little subheadings underneath that to just build on it, right? It's like a training program. I got a keynote speech, but then I've got so many different pieces in that I can't hit on in just 45 minutes. So I break it down. And like if I'm sharing 10 strategies in that speech, then I can have 10 other training programs as a result of that speech. So it can be something that supports it. Does that make sense? Good, good, good. All right. Thank you for these questions. There'll be more, and I want to get to those as well. But let me hit on a few of these that you already asked, and I know you're curious about. And so let's talk a bit about revenue streams in your business, because this is what I've been kind of building up to. I want you in the chat right now, if you will, list some of your key revenue streams that you currently have right now in your business. What's making money for you, right? So yeah, we know keynote, but what else is making money for you? Workshops, assessments, books, coaching, team trainings, good. One-on-one coaching, video series sold as an upsell after the keynote. Yes, yes, that's gangster move right there. Love that. Training programs and consulting, teaching, continuing education courses, good. Retainer fee, cohorts, masterminds, love that. Consulting, coaching, books, assessments, workshops, consulting, books, again, assessments and workshops. Okay, so I'm hearing that as a lot of where people are. Very good, and I think that's important. Let me ask this question though too, is which of them are your most profitable? And then which is your least profitable? A lot of times we don't take assessment of that. So I want you to think about what's really profitable, because you shouldn't be still doing something that ain't made no money in the last 2 years, right? So I want you to be thinking about what is the thing that is making you the most and making you the least. I do this every year with my team. When we get our balance sheet, our income statement, and our profit and loss, I want to look at what do I need to sunset that wasn't as big of a demand this year. I look at what was the most popular and what can we do to build on that and add some more tenants to it, some more roots, some more branches of that tree. So I want us to think about that. So I'm looking at, some people are saying too, their money makers are cohorts, masterminds, training is most popular, consulting by far. Yep. Continuing education classes and curriculum design, good. Right now, coding instructor and AI adoption specialist for Fortune 100 company. Good. Training, most popular. Books, less profitable. And you want to think about, why are the books less profitable? It doesn't mean that everything that's not as profitable means that you instantly need to sunset them or get rid of them, but it may be changing your marketing and your branding strategy and looking at other ways that you can market them. Like for me, the ways that I've been able to sell a lot of books is because I incorporate in my pitch is that how many people are going to be at the conference, or how many VIPs are you going to have, or how many sponsors are you going to have? And I offer them to buy books for them, right? As a giveaway. That'd be a wonderful giveaway for them. So I do that as well. Some people say it's a monthly fee for ongoing services, like a 12-month contract. Someone says too, keynotes and assessments. My other offerings are brand new, but I need to audit some of them. Yeah, it's important for you not to continue to offer the same kind of things that may not be as profitable. Someone asking, what do I need to sunset that wasn't in demand? Yes, that's what we want you to think about. And then what branches of the tree do I need to water and nurture? Because you want to spend your time, you want to spend your effort, and you want to spend your money in areas that are continuing to make you money. So it's important for us to do that every year or even every quarter if you want to do that. So let me share with you some of my revenue streams. Now I got 12, right? And I'm just continuing to build on them. So some of them are the same ones that you already have talked about. So I want you to think about this and do this exercise with, if you got a piece of paper, do this exercise with me. Let's say you got that signature speech, your keynote. I want you to think about that keynote is your area of expertise. That keynote is the experience that you have. And it's certainly going to have a lot of tips, tools, and strategies in that keynote. So now what I want you to think about is all the other things that you can do as a result of having that keynote. So when I build out and write a keynote, that's why I don't have just one. I've got probably 5 signature keynotes. Because look, I got the HR experience that I have of being a global workforce expert, but then I also am a licensed and certified leadership coach and life coach. So those books that I wrote on reinventing yourself and getting a seat at the table and living beyond what if ain't got nothing to do with HR. I don't have nothing to do with culture, right? It has more to do with how can you thrive through the storm, right? How can you manage through disruption and come out on the other side a winner? How do you get out of your own head and out of your own way and step into your greatness? Those are things that are motivational, inspirational, and helping people really become a better version of themselves. So I have several. That's why I say I don't do just one keynote or one signature speech. But I don't know how many of you do this. Clients have kind of gotten a little smart about this to where they are recording your keynotes and then they put them out on their websites or in their learning management systems and then make them available to people. I'm like, you are paying me a fee, a one-time fee to be here live and in person or either virtually. And that's what that money is for. So my keynote is my intellectual property. So I have had Russ Riddle, who has been my IP attorney for the last 5 years, write me out a contract for every speaking engagement that I have. And on that contract, at line number 5, it talks about IP and that this is not to be recorded without my express permission. And if it is, there's a licensing agreement. Now, for some clients, if they're paying full fee and doing all that other stuff that I asked for, I don't have a problem giving them 30-day complimentary access. But after that, they are not able to use my keynote because I had one client, they were an association, recorded my stuff, put it up on their website, and had the nerve to be charging again for it. I'm like, y'all didn't give me that money. You didn't give me no revenue share. So we sent them a cease and desist letter that was not part of our contract. So licensing is something that I do, and I'll sell my license for 6 months or to a year. And I am happy to say to them, if you want to auto renew, we can do that as well. I don't have a problem doing that. So licensing my keynotes, but I don't only license my keynote, I license my seminars, my workshops. I have a trainer program that I license out. I license out my materials, my handouts, my workbooks, my ebooks. I mean, come on, y'all. I'm just saying we got frameworks and models that we have. We worked hard for them. And so you don't want to just give away the whole force. Otherwise, look, we say that when we're dating, right? Is that you don't want to, what is it about the cow and the milk? That you don't want to be giving away all the milk, then they don't need to buy the cow. Well, I'm saying that even here in our speaking is that you don't want to give away things that they're not paying for. And you certainly don't want to give them the opportunity to sell stuff that's taking money out of your pocket. So that's important. Someone says too, my other offerings are brand new. Okay, but I need to add some more to them. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. And then I'm making sure we don't have any other questions. Great. All right. So here's a couple more of the things that I pull from my keynote. So I license them, but I also have on-demand courses. So my keynote, like I said, let's say I have 10 strategies for how to build a welcoming, winning, world-class workplace. So I can literally go on demand and record each of those 10 and do like a 20-minute video but do 10 of them and sell that as an on-demand course. So that's important. That's another area where you can again take your keynote to another level. I turn my key when I write my keynotes out, I write them like I'm seeing them as a long-term opportunity to do workshops and seminars to build on it. So you can have workshops, you can do learning paths, we do certificate of completions, and I tell you, clients love certificates of completion. Coaching, yep, those are some. And then again, merchandise. We have merchandise as well. And we have a lot of our notable quotables on our merchandise and webinars. And then I know we're getting up on time, and I know you guys are going to be doing a deep dive. Give me a check in the chat room what we're doing, and then I want to make sure we close it down so that you all can go and take a deeper dive. Even if you can
I'm
put that in
here.
there, ever.
I'm here. So we are at the top of the hour. So we
Yep.
are going to start to wrap it up. Thank you so much.
Very good.
We
So
can
let me
listen
do
to you
that, and then
forever.
absolutely, ever. Yes. And so let me just show you the last part of this that I wanted to make sure you got. And that is I'll send you these online as well so you'll have availability. Is that there are ultimately these kinds of things that you can also offer. Long-term contracts, brain dates. I get tired of people asking to pick my brain, so I have monetized my brain. So we do an hour long, and we do them as consults. We do it on retainer. We do e-learning, customization, membership, trainer trainers, staff, and like people on my team. We ask them for referrals, and we give them a revenue share, and then customized toolkits and strategic planning. So we offer all of these, and then partnerships and alliances. So I'm going to stop there because that's a lot. But what I want you to understand and to know from tonight's talk is that you could do a whole lot more from your keynotes than you think. And there's a lot of ways that you can monetize your business so that it becomes sustainable and it's something that you can do, forever. And I want to again encourage you to continue to think about ways that you can take one thing and build branches around it. All right. So look, y'all may have to invite me back for part 2 because I still have some great things that I wanted to share, but I want to be sensitive to the time.
Dr. Shirley, I think there might be a lot of people interested in getting your books as well. So I'm going to see if I can
Please
put
put that,
that
in the chat. Check
in
me
the
out
chat for
at
them.
drshirleydavis.com. Link in with me. Please stay in contact with me as well. I'm happy to come back for part 2 because there is more. But thank you all again for your time, for your engagement, for your great insights and things that you've been sharing. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me again, Eva.
Oh, thank you for sharing so generously with us. It was really powerful, and there was, like you said, a lot of engagement. We all learned a lot. And I think Teresa might be sharing the Talkadot slides so that you can have some feedback from us as well. And just a reminder to everyone that we'll take a little break before we jump right into the deep dive session. But I also wanted to, before some of you who may have to hop off, remind you next month's education session will be Karen McCullough. And
Oh, nice.
her topic is going to be Elevate Your Presentations, Mastering the Art of Creating a Killer Keynote that forges deeper connections with your audience. So save the date. That is December 10th. It'll be here before we know it, The holidays are coming up on us, and I know we're all getting busy, but thank you again, Dr. Davis. Let's give her a nice sitting ovation, give her some love for generously sharing with us. And it is now 5 minutes after the hour. Lethea, I want to just check in with you to see if you had anything else you wanted to say before we went to break.
No, I just want to thank Dr. Shirley for, giving us 2 hours worth of content in the time that we had. So thank you so much, beloved, for just everything you've shared and being a brand champion and advocate for Black NSA.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, yeah, I don't know if Teresa, if you can put maybe a 5-minute timer, we'll come back at 10 minutes after the hour because I know we're all in different time zones. So I won't even attempt to try and get that translated. And maybe some of you will get to see the Northern Lights tonight. I'm excited. I'll be in an airplane, so maybe I will get to see them. All right. See y'all back here in 5 minutes. Have a good break.